Hello everyone and welcome back to the BIA racing series where we're at the 6th race of 12. When we are done with this race today on the Isla Seca Loop, we will have completed half of the season. This track comes in at 2.8 kilometers with an elevation change of 49 meters and is located on a small island in the United States of America located just off the west coast. It is easily one of the most dangerous tracks we have on the calendar and by far the most controversial. The whole thing is very narrow, allowing almost no room for overtakes without the risk of running off track, and the areas off track in question is littered with rough terrain, rocks, bushes and clutter that could be the end of your race. On track isn't safe either, as the track surface is horribly bumpy and makes for very difficult car control at high speeds. This race will be taking place at 11 AM with a very warm temperature of 33.2 degrees Celsius, which is the highest temperature to be expected this season. All drivers managed to qualify this race. Jace drove with caution and is starting 5th with a time of 1 minute and 38.882 seconds. Blazin is starting 4th to the surprise of most. He holds the lap record on this track by 2 seconds, and these conditions tend to suit to his skill set, but he made a massive mistake in qualifying where he went wide into the bushes and spun out, but still pushed on to finish the lap and landed a time of 1 minute and 31.991 seconds. This is his first time starting outside of the top 3. Brock is starting 3rd with a consistent drive leading to a time of 1 minute and 28.504 seconds. Paulie led a fast and consistent lap as well with a 2nd place start with a time of 1 minute and 27.483 seconds. Customize has landed his 2nd pole position this race, demonstrating incredible qualifying pace on this track with a time of 1 minute and 25.480 seconds, which was 2 whole seconds faster than Paulie. Can Customize break the recent P1 to P5 pole curse? We'll have to see. Let's let the race begin. Isla Seca is going to be a tough race. Can Blazin work back from his placement deficit with his skill set for this track? It is the 3rd time in a row that Brock is starting in the top 3 and has out-qualified his teammate Blazin. Can he make something work? Can Customize turn his 2nd pole into success and break the recent pole curse? And off they go on Isla Seca. Blazin letting Jace through off the start there. It's immediately gone wrong for Brock. He's off the track. It's disaster at the first turn. They pretty much immediately just called the red flag for a complete race restart, which will be the first time of this season. Complete race restarts can only happen on the very first lap if someone DNFs, where the race is essentially reset with all drivers eligible to restart, unlike regular restarts where DNF drivers stay out. Brock's car is wrecked. He suffered an incredibly strange incident that we'll have to review with a replay coming in now. Everything seems normal for Brock until it's almost as if his car suddenly gains a little bit of lift and the front right side of the car tries to come off the track. With no way to fight or predict this, Brock heads straight into the bushes. This wasn't caused by the track's surface either, as this section is surprisingly smooth compared to other areas. Brock's engineering team will be scrambling to figure out what could have caused this. They just seemingly can't get Brock's car to work right. Brock's car has been repaired. We are going to start this race again very soon, hopefully without issue, and away they go. It seems to be a good start from Jace on Blazin. Blazin lets that through, doesn't want to fight there. They're going through the elevated chicane now. A gap starting to open up between all of them, but Paulie is still right behind Customize as they go through the chicane here and over this jump. This track is more like a rally stage more than an actually dedicated race track. There's Jace, he's following Brock, and Brock in a puff of smoke has just mysteriously disappeared. What on earth was that? Is this more paranormal activity like we had on No Line? Brock is seen back at the start, but his car is in absolute shambles.
What the just happened? I teleported into Polly, then I teleported into Customize, then I'm back at the start.
Due to Brock being a victim of what is clearly paranormal activity, race controllers called a race restart under the lag flag rules introduced after the paranormal incidents on No Line, where drivers clearly badly affected by lag are allowed to restart under specific requirements. This race has gotten off to a terrible start, especially for Brock, who just can't seem to catch a break. We get a replay of the incident now where we see Brock's driving along like normal, where suddenly a lot of his parts come loose and he distorts out of reality, where he's suddenly been transported through space and time to the starting area along the coastal cliffs, where his car just completely disintegrates.
I'm not winning this race. I'm not winning this race.
Brock feeling very unsure in himself, not looking confident in the slightest on this race restart, which considering the circumstances has been classified as a total race restart. So we're effectively starting from the very beginning again. Can we just get this first lap completed? We'll have to see, and it's away they go again. That was a massive jump start from Blaze, and he almost immediately lets Jace through. Jace was very close to Brock there. They're all going up to the elevated chicane now. The top three quite close to each other. That was crazy from Brock over the elevated chicane. Customize has managed to hold on to first place despite Polly following very closely behind. Brock isn't too far behind either. In third place, they're going up to Kangaroo now. The elevation change on this jump is crazy. There seems to be big contact between Brock and Polly over the top of the jump there. That was massive and scary. They're going to the trifork now. It's Polly. His brakes seem to have locked up. He's off track. He almost hits the containers. Jace and Blazin have passed through. Polly is managing to rejoin in 5th place.
What the?
This track is already producing so much drama with absolute chaos. The front of Brock's car is not looking good. We're going to need a replay to review that controversial incident. We've got the replay now, so Brock following closely behind Polly as they head up to Kangaroo. Polly clearly brakes a bit earlier than Brock was expecting, and Brock doesn't anticipate it, and Brock violently slams into Polly's rear at the top of Kangaroo, punching a big hole into his bumper. From there, both drivers wrestle their cars back onto the track successfully, but probably surprised and shaken from what had just happened. Polly locks up trying to steer to the right and ends up off track, just narrowly missing those containers. With contact over a place like Kangaroo, it could have been a much worse incident, so we're lucky that was the most of it. We are finally about to cross into the second lap on Isla Seca. Third time is the charm, and Customize continues to lead, Brock falling behind with a large gap to the back three.
There's a Brock behind. Yes, Brock is behind you. I'm so f***ing scared.
Blazin has been content and sticking behind. Jace has been driving slow and cautiously, both of them playing the long game here to allow Polly to catch up from where he went off earlier. He's looking for a move on Blazin, but he backs off. Any kind of overtaking move is dangerous on this track. Brock has a bumper mishap on Kangaroo. It's dragging underneath the car there. That's not going to be good for his components. It comes loose and it's barreling down the beach side there at Trifork. Customize and Brock heading down to Wallaby. Brock has missed the corner, but he's heading down the escape road. There seems to be a bigger technical issue at play here. He is turning those wheels, but for some reason the car doesn't seem to be responding correctly. That bumper mishap may have really damaged the underside of his car. The back three are coming through now, and Brock will end up down in 5th. Brock spins around. He seems to have saved it from whatever technical issue the car was facing.
Oh my god, I saved it!
Yes, Brock! Brock is back on track. He has quite a deficit to work back from now, but it's certainly better than DNF, and it's allowed Jace to move up into P2, the highest position he's held in a race.
Wait, I'm second.
Customize has just also achieved an impressive fastest lap at a time of 1:29. Oh my god, the moment of celebration was too early for Brock. We've lost the feed on that horrific crash. That's brought out a red flag almost immediately, and that's going to be yet another 5th place finish for Brock due to DNF. With this, Brock has gone the entire first half of the season without finishing intact.
3 hours of sleep, bro. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. Just lapsing.
It's good to hear Brock on the radio, which confirms that he's okay after the crash. This seems to have been a case of both poor driver and team preparation for the race, which will be elaborated on further after this replay. But here we see Brock was still accelerating, entering a corner where you need to take your foot off the pedal briefly, but it was too late. Lost the grip due to the tiny amount of airtime and went headfirst into that bush at nearly 150 kilometers per hour. Additionally, the problem with Brock's bumper reveals a very surprising decision by Will Rock Racing and Brock's engineering team to not take out the front bumper support on a track that essentially requires it. Otherwise, you're doomed to bumper issues such as this, as the support does more than just limit the chances of the bumper breaking, but most of the time, it also tends to hold back broken bumpers from getting stuck underneath the car in a position where it either blocks or breaks up components of the undercarriage, which is definitely what happened here. It reminds me of the puzzling decision that BeamNG Racing made back on Utah to take out the ultra-low race front bumper, where due to this decision he was met with multiple bumper problems during that race. We are about to get this race underway again. It's a very exciting but high-pressure environment for Jace now, starting in 2nd, and off they go. It's a terrible start for Jace, blazing up into P2. The back three are so close together as Customize pulls away. Jace has the inside up Blazin. Blazin forces the outside, opens up the gap for Polly, and Blazin doesn't fight it. Absolutely incredible comeback from Jace under all that pressure.
That was the most weird and awkward thing, and I somehow got back up to P2.
Polly falling behind Jace in a tri-fork. Jace goes wide. Polly with a much better run, has far better speed and momentum, and he's looking for any possible gap for an overtake as I climb up to the top of the crest here. Here they come around that bend. Polly seems to have found the gap. They're alongside as they come down this straight. Polly gets the move done, but he had to go to a ditch that was rough. Could it have caused damage to the car? Was it worth it?
Yeah, my car's not feeling good after that, can't lie.
Oh my god, your wheel.
Yeah, I'm gonna box.
The move was not worth it. He gained a position, but with a box he will now lose 2.
How long have we been racing? 5 minutes?
Yep.
It's so long, bro.
With everything that's happened, Customize is already feeling exhausted. And there's Polly with some bumper damage, but he slid off the track and onto the beach. Jace and Blazer pass it to P2 and P3 again, respectively. Now can Polly get out of this one? He just has to climb up the small hills there, up back onto the track. But he clearly has some damage that is affecting his steering, but he is persevering. Will this be a 4th place finish for the championship leader? This really shows how one mistake on this track can send everything spiraling out of control. It's bad. He seems to have beached it on the beach, meeting a similar fate to Brock last race. This will be Polly's lowest finish since Utah, where he finished 4th there as well. These sort of tracks really don't seem to suit his skill set.
What happened, Polly?
I don't know, I'm just beached.
Polly was also driving while recovering from painful sunburns thanks to a fun time out on the beaches here at Isla Seca just the other day, so that wouldn't have helped driving conditions for him either. Here we have the replay of the initial damage that led to this incident. Polly lines up for the overtake and all seems clear until suddenly there's a ditch beneath Polly's left, and that side of his car makes a slight but nasty impact as it briefly dipped down into the ditch. This is a testament to Isla Seca's danger, as only with a lot of practice could you know such a hidden ditch was behind the grass there. It's unclear as to what specific damage made Polly go off, but we can see bumper damage up the front there, and the car suddenly doesn't respond to his steering and leads him off to the beach. His excellent performance over the last few races, however, does make his championship position safe despite a low finish. Here we are, restarting this race yet again. Blazer will cling onto his podium streak. It is Jace's first time on the podium since Utah, and Customizers continue to fend off his pole position. It is a game of survival. Off they go again. Fairly equal launches. Jace close to Customize. Backs off a bit there as they head up to the elevated chicane. Positions unchanged and unchallenged. That was a pretty safe restart, all things considered.
Like, hitting from mandatory pit stop.
Jace going for the early pit stop strategy again. If this race runs until the end, it could likely be a 2-stop strategy, but it seems to be a strategic gamble on people continuing to crash, which is a very realistic expectation, and expectation becomes reality as Customizer slid off the track onto the beach where Polly did the same, and Jace almost crushes himself. Can Customize make it back on time with Jace coming around the corner? Blazer 2, Jace passes it to P1, Blazer now trying, but it is too late and he doesn't want to take the risk. That was close and dangerous. Yellow flags were not called to notify the oncoming drivers of the incident.
I'm not pitting.
And we now have Jace leading for the first time in his career. Customize and Blazer not too far behind.
You should have pitted because they're customized. You might have some damage.
Doesn't feel bad yet.
Here we have the replay of what happened to Customize. He hits the pothole cover bump in the middle of the track there, unsettles the car. Customize simply tries to keep it together, but accidentally overcorrects into a slide where he ends up on the beach. Again, it's a single mistake on this track that can put your whole race at risk.
I'm so glad I saved that. I saw I was going to the beach, I'm like, I'm just gonna pin it because I don't get beat.
Customize has been following very closely behind Jace while Blazer continues to stick to a strategy of keeping a distance for long-term safety. They're coming around the beach side now. Jace hits the bump. You should be hitting through there. The same mistake from last lap. He and Customize get close, but Jace continues to pull out ahead. You really need to be careful to avoid that specific pothole cover, as we saw it's thrown drivers off track and caused trouble for Jace 2 laps in a row. Lap 8 has just begun. Customize still very close behind Jace, so they come up to the elevated chicane, and there's contact at Migratory.
Oh my god, bro, I'm impatient! Get out of my way! Get the f out of my way!
Customize is letting the impatience get to him. How will Jace respond to this pressure as they head up to the crest now? Equal distance between all three at the moment. And oh, Jace has hit the brakes too late. He's off track at the crest. He narrowly avoids the rocks there as Customize and Blaze and pass by. But it isn't over for Jace yet as he has found his way back onto the track. Customize back into P1, but oh, not for long. He's off on the run down to Wallaby with a big crash as Blazer now takes the top spot of this race. Jace now passing by as well into second position. We just saw Customize lost the wheel. How can he possibly get out out of this situation, but he is very well trying. He is making his way back onto track there. He is not giving up despite all the odds here. His car is badly damaged. He's currently moving at a crawl, but it's not stopping him. We'll have to review the replay that we eventually get to see what happened to have Customized run off the track the way he did.
I should have boxed. I noticed my suspension was kangarooing, bro. It was so bad.
Customized having regrets over not boxing earlier, seemingly tying the issue to potential internal damage picked up from when he went off at the beach earlier. Boston mandatory. Blazin taking the opportunity to cover a pit stop. It seems Blazin predictions of what may happen came true, and his strategy of staying behind has paid off as he finds himself now leading the race. Jace now coming in to make his pit stop as well, to repair potential damage from when he went off at the crest, to make sure what happened to Customize doesn't happen to him. Incredible scenes here at Isla Seca as Customize has fought his way back to the pits. Most of us definitely thought it was over for him, but here we are, his pit crew ready and anxious to fix the damage. And oh no, there's been a pit lane mishap. Customize has rolled off the edge of the pit lane. He's stuck. He's trying to get himself out, but it's looking bleak. I've never seen anything quite like it. Customize was so close to making sure his race continues after a valiant effort to get back to the pits, but here we are, and the red flag has been called. Customize is out, and Jace will have a guaranteed second place position, the highest in his career so far.
P2.
Oh my god.
Here we get the replay where it all went wrong for Customize. His bumper hanging loose is further damaged after a bump, where then his car starts to bounce more than ever before due to the bumper being stuck at the worst possible time alongside the alleged suspension damage, and now he loses all grip, makes big contact with trackside bushes, and smashes into the ground again, which sends his wheel flying off, followed by more big airtime. It was a scary crash, and even though it eventually caused Customize to DNF, we're glad he's okay.
Like I said, I didn't care. All I wanted was not last.
Only 15 minutes have passed and almost the entire grid has been taken out by the conditions of this track. Jace has fought fiercely with everything he's got, now in his highest position ever for a race finish, and Blazin has successfully played the long game strategy to be in a position to aim for his second BIA win. Will Jace have a good start again and make Blazin concede off the start? Well, it's time to see. Blazin with the better start has easily been able to move to block Jace from a potential overtake. Blazin, for the first time, this race is clear ahead and will be able to show his pace on this track as he sees fit. As we can see, he's already pulling away.
Yeah, I can't keep up with William. I have to back out.
No, just survive, Jace. Just survive.
Both Blazin and Jace have made their mandatory stops, so they don't have to worry about that, but depending on how long this race continues, another pit stop may come into play. Jace seriously starting to fall behind Blazin now. He's been through a lot this race, and oh no, it's too fast. He's hit a bush, and it's a big rollover. He's done the same thing Brock did, but this time a corner earlier. He's on his roof. There's no getting out of that, and this means the race is over, and Blazin has claimed his second win. Jace has exceeded all expectations this race. Everyone is to be proud of him. He started P5 and has ended P2. As mentioned before, it's his highest finishing position yet. He managed to survive longer than the other experienced drivers on the field, where he's had to fight through crashes and overtakes. Blazin has gone from P4 to P1 by correctly predicting that everyone else would crash ahead of him if he just bided his time and didn't make any risks where he didn't have to. His car was also exceptionally reliable today. His engineering team managed to find an excellent setup for Isla Seca. Second race win, but I don't feel good about it. This track is just terrible. I feel bad for my fellow racers. The win seemingly feeling bittersweet to Blazin, as a win where all you had to do was wait for others to crash may not feel like a deserved one. And so concludes the shortest race in BIA history thus far on the Isla Seca Loop, with the race only having ran for 16 minutes with 44 left to go when Jace crashed. However, it was definitely filled with plenty of entertainment due to the non-stop chaos that was on display today, with the rookie Jace claiming his highest finishing position yet and Blazin claiming a second win. This race only lasted 10 laps with only 28 kilometers traversed, making it the shortest race in terms of distance as well. The race results are Brock unfortunately yet again in 5th place, let down by strange paranormal activity and poor race preparation. Paulie finished in 4th, his lowest finishing position since Utah, but due to his points lead, he is still quite safe from the other competitors in the standings. Customize finished in 3rd, who drove surprisingly risky today but set an impressive race lap record that other drivers didn't get all that close to matching due to the circumstances of the race. In 2nd is Jace, as mentioned previously, his highest finishing position yet, managing to fight through massive struggles the whole way through, and is definitely his best race performance yet. The first place winner of this race is Blazen, who starting in 4th chose to play it safe to wait out the chaos that was soon to come, and indeed it did, and it led to a pretty uneventful cruise up to 1st place, where he has now claimed his 2nd win. Without a doubt, driver of the day is Jace. Not much explanation is required for that, as we have discussed and seen it all. That's his 2nd driver of the day win, the 1st being at Utah. As far as the standings go, despite how close it is, the standings still remain unchanged. Polly leading with 21 points, both Blazen and Customize are separated by a single point, where they continue to fight fiercely over championship position, but they are now in that position to possibly at least tie up with Polly's current points at the next race. With Jace's 2nd place finish this race and a driver of the day win, for the first time he's been able to nicely pull away from Brock in the points, but by no means is he safe. Join us next time for the last race in the streak of American activity, where we return back to the West Coast, this time on Spearleaf Island's Tyrannos Sprint Circuit, making it the 7th race of 12 in the season, taking place at noon. This track has a layout more akin to a go-kart track, but there's plenty of space and a lovely track surface to race on, but at some points it can be surprisingly challenging with deceiving corners and turns that can make a driver and their car play up. It's also the shortest track this season, coming in at just a single kilometer in distance, so pit strategies will be interesting and drivers will almost always be close to each other. See you then.